Hello everybody and welcome to Omnipoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. I'm Jack and today we're going to be looking at Mew in the Astral Radiance format. Obviously Mew has been absolutely dominant in the Brilliant Stars format. It's going to be one of the best decks sort of the whole way through. It started to see less and less players sort of the meta developed, but I still think if you like split the Arceus variants up into each of them individually, Mew would be still the highest earning deck in terms of CP and probably prize money as well. It's won regionals, it's performed well at regionals all the way through to the finals, top fours, top eights, that kind of thing. And whilst there are a couple of scary things for Mew in this new set, we've got Samurott, Darkrai, the new Temple, all of these different things. Mew is still Mew. Mew is still going to be super popular. It gains a couple of things itself, which is pretty exciting. And yeah, I still expect Mew to be pretty on form going into this format. So the list, as you can see, isn't too crazy. There's actually only 2 new cards in here. This is kind of very similar to a lot of the Mew lists at the moment. Still playing Fog Crystal and Psychic to respect, you know, some of these things like Whimsicott and Beedrill and stuff out here, which can be important. Still got the Training Court as well, just to try and help get the energy back. We also have, I think it's also pretty important to have an extra, well, Training Court in general, just because of the Temple of Sinnoh, because, again, more stadium bounces is going to be really important to bounce the stadium, but also having an extra, like, energy that you can just attach, search for and attach, is going to be really useful when people try and, like, Temple you when you've got a double turbo on. You can then have, like, a Fog Crystal plus a Psychic to be able to still attach it. A couple of other cards. We've got one Trekking Boots. Trekking Boots seems like an obvious include. The weird thing about Trekking Boots is that actually there's a lot of cards you don't really want to discard in the early turns. You want to actually keep the card you see a lot of the time, but that's fine because it's still a minus 1 in the deck. It's still a 59 card deck. It's still helping you reach Sparkle and Boss and things like that in the early turns, as well as being discards energy as and when you need it, discarding extra resources you no longer need after turn 1, which is really good. We've also got one Silene, a brand new supporter from the set. This says flip 2 coins, put a number of cards up to the number of heads from your discard pile on top of your deck in any order. So obviously this isn't immediate resource, but with Genesect typically you are going to be able to access these cards quite quickly. The primary things you're going to be going for here are more power tablets, more fusion energy pretty much most of the time, but it also lets you move down to a 3 stadium count and move down to a 2 Mew VMAX count, in my opinion at least, to be able to get more use out of those in the later game as well, which is really important. I feel like a lot of the time when I've been playing Mew and I've been playing double Mew VMAX, there are times where it's a little bit scary and you really don't want to see your Mew in the early turns. You don't want to have to discard that. So it's pretty nice being able to have an out to getting that back now, which is really good. As well as things like Echoing Horn. Obviously Echoing Horn is just a one-off that you want typically towards the end of the game. Sometimes you just have to discard and say, I'm not going to get this back. Now you're actually able to reuse this later on, as well as things like the 1 escape rope as well. Obviously this is down to 3 switch outs. But again, you have Silene to be able to recycle some of these switch outs on turns where you're not using Boss or Sparkle, which are few and far between, but it is really important. Because the other thing is, there's actually less of a... There's more situations where you actually don't need to use Boss or Sparkle if you can hit even just 1 heads with Silene, because that lets you grab a power tablet, or it lets you grab, you know, another fusion energy, and that helps you accelerate your game plan and deal with whatever's in the active, rather than you know, having to Boss or Sparkle your way around the game anyway. So they kind of work hand in hand. It's not... Obviously, a lot of the time you'll prefer to see things like Boss and Sparkle, but Silene helps you be a bit more flexible as well, which is pretty important. But yeah, other than that, like I say, a pretty standard Mew list. Nothing too crazy here. We're going to jump into some games. Not that we need to jump into too many, just because everyone knows how Mew works for now. So it's not going to be sort of groundbreaking what we're going to see here. But regardless, we'll grab a couple. Meanwhile, whilst we're waiting to jump into a game, we'll quickly give Potown Store a shout out. They have the Astral Radiance stuff on their store now, so make sure you check it out. You can grab codes to be able to start busting open packs or just trading for some of these brand new cards. So yeah, make sure you check them out and use code Omnipoke for a 5% discount on your order. Alrighty, so
Let's jump on into a game here. Like I say, I still think Mew is in a pretty strong position. It's always going to have a target on its back. But it's managed to survive this whole format with a target on its back. So it's not like that's something it's necessarily uncomfortable with or not had to deal with in the past anyway. Looks like we've got ourselves a mirror here. So yeah, there's nothing like too worrying about that. It's a bit of a pain. It always will be a bit of a pain having to, you know, deal with people targeting you left, right, and center. But we've seen that Mew can definitely do that, and definitely still be successful in a format where that is happening. So nothing too worrying overall, in my opinion. A couple of other things you can do with the list, more trekking shoes and that kind of thing is definitely an option. With Dark Patch, you can actually kind of rip out a lot of the typical stuff you see in a Mew list and play like more of a dark focused list, which is interesting because Dark Patch can work on the Hooper V. And Hooper V is a fantastic card. Psychic and Dark typing is really good. It hits a lot of different types. It hits Mews, it hits Urshis, all of this stuff, which is really good. So yeah, definitely recommend that, giving that a go. It's a pretty interesting build. Not at all traditional compared to how we've seen sort of Mews in the past, but pretty good. Was that a VIP pass off the top from there? Rose, that was pretty wild. Yeah, what else can you do with Mew? I feel like that's the majority of the stuff you can kind of expect to see. Mew still very much is kind of bread and butter, doing what you expect. But yeah, it looks like our opponent is playing the trekking shoes. They've pretty much fully invested into this Meloetta, which is kind of spooky for them, right? Because it makes me want to KO this Meloetta. Okay, they found a second one prizer. Now they're allowed. Now they're in a much better position. Now, okay. What do we have here? We have Sparkle plus Attach. That's 140. So we have a KO on a Meloetta. That's 120. Sorry. So we would still need power. Pretty sure we're Ultra Balling here, and I think. I think the Court and the Horn go. We only have one VMAX. It's worth remembering. And we've prized Silene as well. And we've prized a Fusion Energy as well. Okay. We're definitely grabbing the Meloetta here. Trying to work out whether we're Ultra Balling again. We might just be Ultra Balling the Switch and the DTE for a Genesect and then Rose Towering. I think that makes sense. Yeah, let's do that. So we'll Rose Tower first because we can get more cards off of Genesect should we find more basics, which we do. Oricorio isn't hugely impactful, but I want to draw more cards from it, so I'm definitely going to still be using it. It's also pretty important to, in the mirror I feel, to put Fusion Energies onto one prizes rather than two prizes. So even though Oricorio is basically never really going to be doing anything major in this matchup, I still think it is going to be important to plonk a Fusion Energy on it if possible, just to protect ourselves next turn. I don't really want to see a Fusion Energy here. I want to see the Psychic Energy, I think. So I think I'm going to Sparkle here, because we're going to have to KO this Meloetta anyway. I think we're going to Sparkle to the 2-1 prizes, and then Rotom Phone to try and find... If we have to take the Fusion Energy, we have to take the Fusion Energy. But if not, to try and find the Psychic or Fog. We see Fusion, so I'm going to take Fusion just because I want to get this KO. Or we could just take DTE just because I want to take this KO. Our opponent doesn't know that we have a Fusion prize, so if we attach the Fusion, they pretty much have to KO this Meloetta, I think. So yeah, okay, let's do this. This forces them to KO the Meloetta, and they're on the same prize race as us then, but we have taken the first prize, so we have tempo. And this is something I really like doing in the Mew Mirror. Committing your energy to one prizes feels kind of weird, because you actually don't want to use one prizes too often for the rest of the game. But typically what the opponent will try and do here, or what the person going first as Mew will try and do here, is take the 2-2-2 prize route. Whereas a lot of the time in like the perfect game plan, the person goes second will have to go like 1-3-2 in their prize mapping. So doing this forces them to go 1-3-2 as well, but we get to take the first prize, so we get to take initiative. And if they take 2 prizes here, which looks like they're going to try and do, we get to potentially threaten next turn a KO on a VMAX, because they haven't respected where our fusion energy are. So yeah, that's really good for us. Unfortunately, we've prized one of the fusion energies, so we are going to have to do it via things like power tablets, which is a little bit awkward. But we even have time to build up towards that, because we can just boss with Meloetta and KO a Genesect next turn, and try and build a hand to get to that VMAX KO when we're ready. We never have to evolve into a VMAX here, so our opponent's still going to have to go 2-2-2, which is pretty good. It's not like a clear-cut game plan. There's definitely, you know, it doesn't guarantee you the Mew Mirror or anything like that, but I feel like it makes it as difficult as possible for the person going first to try and respond on you. It puts them in a pretty weird position, because they either have to take a one prizer and then still copy your game plan whilst you are a turn ahead of them, ideally, or they have to go this 2-2-2 route. Yeah, exactly. They have to go this 2-2-2 route and leave all of these fusion energy on board, and you are then threatening a big KO on your end to be able to go so far ahead in the prize race that you can't really lose at that point. So yeah, that's the typical strategy I like to take in the Mew Mirror, to be honest. We'll grab another one. Like I say, it's not foolproof. There's definitely sort of ways that it can be played around, and it still requires a lot for you to draw from your end as the Mew player going second in terms of trying to find the tablets and stuff. And not having fusion energy prize and stuff like that, but it does mean it's something that actually works, I feel, a lot of the time, which is really good, or at least it puts the opponent in a rough spot in terms of knowing what to do. Okay, looks like we're up against a Palkia here. Choice battle is pretty important for Palkia, to be honest, because they're pretty chunky. But I think we have. I think we're just better off trying to flip some coins here. Really hoping we see one of these turn out as heads. We don't, so this is going to be a pretty sad Genesect here. That's the Genesect for 2. Genesect for 1, sorry. Which is never ideal. Rotom Phone is better than nothing, I guess. Pretty sure we just take the basic here instead of trying to re-roll with Phone. I think we just take the basic here and know that we're getting a Genesect for 3 next turn. So yeah, Palkia is a bit of an awkward one. They can play things like one Path to the Peak, one Temple of Sinnoh, which are both pretty annoying for Mew to deal with. Not ideal, but you know, it can be a little bit difficult for them to reach 3 prize number Mew VMAX numbers, which is important. They do hit the Rule the Region. They do hit the Temple of Sinnoh, and then they're going to go for Rule the Region to grab a path. So we are going to have to keep that in mind for the following turn as well. We actually could get a KO here though, which is great. We are going to have to bounce the stadium to do so, unless we find Sparkle here. Second choice belt going is kind of awkward. But again, I think we have to do it. 3 tails in a row is really not what we wanted to see, though. Yeah, pretty sure this one's going to be a lost cause, unfortunately. We're just going to grab a Mew and hold it for now. 160, 190, 230. Yeah, we're just going to hold it for now. We can tank a hit with Mew and hopefully try and jump in next turn. But yeah, this is looking pretty rough. Just 3 tails in a row with crams is difficult to come back from. Looks like they're also bricking though. Irida gets them out of the brick, unfortunately. They have at least got rid of their temple, which means when we bounce this path, realistically, they probably don't have too many more stadiums. We are living as well. The Genesect is nice, but still not useful, unfortunately. We can hold this Ultra Ball, but don't really know what we're holding it for. It'd just be grabbing me another Genesect. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to put it... Yeah, I think I'm just going to put a Genesect down and say go. Hoping for a Stadium next turn off the top. As they take the first 2 here. Three Stadiums in the deck. We get a switch though. I think we have one more turn to perhaps draw out of this. And if we don't hit anything on this following turn, I'm pretty sure we're going to be wrapping this game up here. Playing a Diancie. Interesting. I think we're out of here, unfortunately. 3 tails in a row on Cram was pretty bad, to be honest. Nothing really we can do there. Let's grab one more. Hopefully a little bit better Cram luck, if necessary. Yeah, there's a couple of dark decks that kind of are a bit worrying, but I think in general you can still keep tempo with a lot of them. Going second, we can hold most of this. Double power tablet's kind of awkward. Ah, we're playing another Mew Mirror. Hoping to hit one of the dark decks in the video, unfortunately, but I guess we're mirror gamers today. Starting with a 1 prizer. I'm playing 2 switch and 1 rope at the moment. You definitely can play the inverse. I still really like rope turn 1, to be honest, but I'm on switch at the moment. I think they're pretty interchangeable though, and as well as that, you're allowed. I feel like you're allowed to play 3 switch outs a little bit more than you were previously. Again, because of Silene being like a panic, try and get more 1 prizes, try and get more switch outs. Sorry, so I think that's allowed now. Like, people were doing it anyway, so I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with doing it now. As we see our opponent just pass into us. Okay, pretty sure we want to resolve the trekking shoes first, because I want to see if they give me one of the 2 fog crystal cards I want. Do I want a Mew? Yeah, I will take a Mew. We can go down pretty low here. I think I'm just going to grab the Meloetta here. See how many... Oh, we only have 2 fusion energy. Wow. These games have not been kind to us, have they? Okay, because we only have 2 fusion energy, we are actually going to have to be pretty fortunate here. I think we're also going to have to burn these. We really need to draw a Sparkle before either of our Fusion Energy. Which we do, which is great. We also have Ultra Ball to be able to... we also have Ultra Ball to be able to grab another Genesect and try and find an energy card to round out this turn. We have our other VMAX, so we can discard this one pretty readily. 2 outs, drawing towards 2 outs is a bit scary. Especially given that we can't really do too much with the 2 outs. We have a Cram though. So any trainer we draw, we can or item we draw, we can potentially turn into the energy card we need. Provided we get a heads. There's an item. I think Quick Ball is going here. That is a heads. I'm going to grab the Psychic Energy here just because it's... I just want to save the double turbo, considering we've prized 2 energy. I want to save the double turbo for a Mew VMAX on the following turn, should we need it. And we will Echo. We'll hold the phone for the following turn. Like I say, we still need to find the double turbo potentially next turn. Didn't hit one of Fusions, which is awkward. I don't think Silene is a card you have to play, but it really does make a lot of the early discards feel a lot less bad, to be honest. Which is, I think, important, because there are a lot of situations where you discard stuff and you're like, I am in a rough spot now. Now, unfortunately, because we had to burn a couple of power tablets, if they KO the Meloetta here, which I'm assuming they're going to, or they're aiming to do, we have basically no push, unfortunately. Which is a shame. That's kind of the downside of this kind of strategy where you're really trying to force the one prizer out. They just scooped anyway. Okay. We'll have one more game, just because I feel like we still haven't had a real game yet. We had a break against Palkia and 2 Mews concede against us because they didn't get the Dream turn 1. Admittedly, like I say, if they took a KO there, we were in a pretty rough spot because we had to burn 2 tablets. You're usually fine if you have to burn 1 tablet, but burning 2 tablets is really... When you're doing this like one prizer strat, it's really rough. It makes things a lot more difficult. So yeah, I think we were in a pretty bad spot there. If they had the KO, if they didn't have the KO, then we were probably far enough ahead to be able to just boss our way through the rest of the game. Alrighty, final game of the day. Let's see. Okay, this hand is looking pretty funky. That's a Dialga. I'm trying to take 2 turns against us. I think we need a pretty good top deck here. I guess at least in the 2 Mew mirrors you got to see the deck kind of perform. Ooh. VIP pass near the top, huh? Great art, by the way. Look at this. I like to think this is a giant Magnemite and a tiny person, but I'm pretty sure this is just perspective. But I really like to imagine that this Magnemite is like an alpha Magnemite from Arceus. And it's just colossal. Have they got the candy zone? They are in the zone. Going for the Giga Magnet. If they hit 3, they win. I only hit 2. So they're going for a research. If they just attached 2 here, they should have just attached 2 here, right? And then gone for a 3rd energy and just KO'd me with Power Beam. They have, if they have an energy, this way they need energy and switch, right? Whereas if they just had an energy, they could KO me with Magnezone. All of the boots in the world. Discarding an energy makes me think they've got an energy already. Okay, there's a saucer. Do they have the switch? There's a balloon. Wowzers. Okay, so we are going to have one more game. Because the deck has performed in the 2-view mirrors, I feel. Against other decks, it's just folded because I've bricked. So we're going to try and have one more game, and hopefully we will get a real one out of it. Going second. Well, yeah, assumingly we're going second. Okay, this hand is far more workable. We have the Sparkle, we have the Energy, we have a Quick Ball to be able to find a Genesect, we have an Ultra Ball to be able to find a Meloetta. We are a go. And we're against Darkrai, so this should be pretty interesting to see whether Darkrai can keep up with Mew's pressure, whether it can overtake Mew's pressure just by being a Dark-type deck, or whether the one prizes and just the speed of the deck can overcome Darkrai. We have KO on a 2-prizer if we can get one into the active already, which is great. They choose to attach active rather than Direflame Wings. Wow. That's pretty crazy. Oh, that is, I think, the perfect top deck, because that makes these Ultra Balls, this Ultra Ball, so much smoother. That means you can Ultra Ball these two to get a Genesect, then get the energy back, Quick Ball it again, get the Meloetta, attach to the Mew, Sparkle, and then Phone for 3. Phone, and then we Genesect for 3. That, I think, is the best top deck in the deck, which is very fortuitous on our part. So, how many tablets do we have? We only have 2 tablets, which is a little bit awkward, because we're probably going to have to go through at least 1 V-Star, I would assume. But they've put a 2-prizer down here for us that is not a V-Star, and that damages itself, so we actually don't need that many modifiers for that, which is great. Again, I'd prefer to be attaching to 2 1-prizers here, but you know, still a great spot to be in. I'm going to phone first. I know we have a lot of outs to try and draw more cards, but I'm pretty sure I want to phone first just to try and guarantee one of these outs at the expense of a slightly worse turn, a slightly worse Genesect, or next Genesect, I guess. I think I want to take the Quick Ball. There's not that many cards I don't want to discard with Quick Ball, plus it nets an extra 1 card. And it helps filter out the deck. So yeah, I think I want to take the Quick Ball here. We're going to Fusion Strike System, pick up a Quick Ball. I don't mind... I wouldn't have minded putting the Rose Tower in play, but I actually want to grab that Psych Energy back at some point during this game, just because we've had to attach to... just because we have attached the Fusion Energy to the Mew. So I'm pretty sure keeping the Training Court around for a while makes sense. We've discarded 1 switch, and so I think I'm going to hold this other switch. We still have a lot of outs. I don't really want to just freely bin off switches. We can definitely get rid of this Training Court for, I think, probably just a Mew, and I'm pretty sure we're just going to hold it there. We could go for another Genesect and really try and draw more, but I'm pretty sure Just grabbing a Mew and guarantee, because we have the double turbo, grabbing a Mew and guaranteeing a VMAX attack on the, or making it a lot easier to try and get a VMAX attack on the following turn makes a lot of sense. So let's just do this. Go for the Echo and take our first 2 prizes here. Sparkle on a phone. Still 2 tablets in there. Yeah, we could have drawn more cards that turn, but I felt like we were pretty much happy where we were, and our opponent boss KOing a Mew would force us to have to find Fusion Energy plus boss, potentially. I guess they can, I guess not, because they might be KOing it with something else. Just going to go for a research here. They grabbed the energy, again, they grabbed the energy back, rather than Direflame winging, which is interesting. Here comes the wings. Concealing some cards. Attaching to the Darkrai. It only would be one prize here, but had they gone for the Direflame Wings on the turn previous, they could be attacking here and at least taking 2 Fusion Energy off the board and forcing me to find VMAX and stuff. Whereas now I just need to find boss, right, for a KO. So I'm definitely going after this Darkrai because it can evolve out of range. So we're just hunting for boss this turn. We do hit the boss, which is great. Do I want to do much more with this turn? I think we can pretty happily discard the Sparkle and maybe the Phone. Or maybe the Cram. Cram can get us the boss for next turn that we're going to need though. So maybe the Silene goes instead. We can just Ultra Ball away the boss and the Silene and the Sparkle. I think we grab the VMAX, but we don't necessarily... Oh, we can actually just grab the VMAX and evolve this Mew V here. It's got the double turbo, because if they're KOing this for 3 prizes, we still have enough to KO a Moltres with like a band or something. So yeah, I like this. We can just bin these off. I think we hold the Cram and the Phone for the following turn. There's no major urgency to draw those cards. I am definitely going to get rid of these though, or at least one of them. I don't think there's anything else we want to cram for this turn. We could just do it again to filter out the hand, but I don't think there's any major necessity to. Do we need to Training Court? Do we want them to Training Court, or do we want to Rose Tower? I don't mind Rose Towering. Take away Training Court from them. We have the DTE established on the other Mew. So we have 2 attackers pretty much guaranteed here. Let's go for a Boots first. Yeah, I will take that. That's a really good card. Do I want the Psychic Energy? We'd give them a Psychic Energy. We'd give them a Dark Energy, so they could... kind of guarantees them an attack. Okay, let's just bin it off. just going to Echo for the KO here. This hopefully is pretty locked up now. Just making sure I'm covering all bases. Roxanne is kind of the only thing that I'm a little bit scared about, which was maybe a reason to get rid of the or play the Cram and get rid of a Battle VIP pass, just because it's a dead draw. But I think Roxanne isn't necessarily the strongest play, because Roxanne plus KO would still give us access to a Mew, right? So they have to Roxanne plus KO with a 1-prizer, I guess, which looks like what they're trying to do. Gonna have to go for like a Dark Patch or an E-Switch play here. Do you see the Ultra Ball? I think that was a V-Star and a Research, yeah. There's the Luminions, so they can Roxanne us here if they play it. Yeah, they do play the Roxanne. So the awkward thing about Roxanne against the Mew deck is you kind of have to pair it with Path, which I would be surprised if they're playing, but they are using these abilities pre-Roxanne, which makes me think maybe they do. No, they don't play Path. That's very good. I would have been very surprised, but it's stranger things have happened. But yeah, you have to be kind of scared. Well, like Roxanne isn't necessarily a great out to Mew without Path, because you can then, like, they can then just draw back up with Genesect pretty easily. Okay, so we just need to find a boss's orders here, which shouldn't be too difficult, I hope. I think I want to draw 4 before doing anything. Either that or we could use the Training Court and draw 6. Let's use the Training Court and draw 6. Still 2 boss in there. There's the boss. 3 for 3 on Darkrai KOs. Alrighty, they had a pretty slow couple of early turns, which is kind of an issue with the deck, with the Darkrai deck, to be honest. But yeah, as you can see, Mew can still race decks pretty efficiently, even if they are Dark types. I think if they'd been able to weave more 1-prizers, more of the like 1-prize Galarian Moltres in there, could have been a bit more difficult. But it looks like they just didn't have the hand capable of doing that, which is unfortunate. But yeah, nothing too crazy with Mew. It's not changed that much, just some additions from things like Silene and the trekking shoes. The shoes were great. We grabbed 2 cards we wanted off of those, which is nice because it's just filtering out the deck. Silene we didn't really get to use, but that's because 60% of our games, or 80% of our games weren't real games, I guess. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how Mew is in this format. It does feel like it's been toned down a little bit. There's more answers out there. There's more decks that can check it if they have a good start and if Mew has a slow start, whereas there was not a huge amount of decks that could punish a slow starting Mew necessarily, because they could, like, Mew could still get back into the game, I felt, in a lot of instances. So it feels like Mew is being kept a little bit more honest now, but it still feels really strong. I wouldn't worry too much if you're a Mew main. I'm pretty sure the deck will still be pretty top tier. It's still a very, very solid archetype. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I've been Jack from Omnipoke, and I look forward to seeing you guys in another video soon. Cheers, everyone.